There was a remote village called Shantipur. It was surrounded by fields. The roads were broken and unpaved, and as night fell, a terrifying silence spread everywhere, as if everything was under the control of some invisible force. For some time now, people from Shantipur had been disappearing one by one during the night, and no one knew who was taking them. Because of this, the villagers were afraid to step outside after dark. Matan, who lived in the city, was forced to return to Shantipur after the recent death of his father in order to complete the paperwork related to his ancestral house and land. It was evening. A light mist hung in the sky, and the roads were almost dark. Matan sat in an auto rickshaw, heading toward the village. The driver drove silently. "Brother, it gets very deserted here at night," the driver finally said. "Sir, try not to go outside after dark." The road was long and filled with fog. When Martin looked outside, he saw strange shadows moving among the trees along the roadside and across the fields. The branches of the trees seemed to whisper as a light wind passed through them. Martin said to himself, it was better to stay in the city. The auto slowly reached the main square of the village. The entire village was silent. No shopkeepers, no people. The meeting place was empty. Even the dogs stayed in their places, barking softly. "You go ahead," the driver said, nodded silently, and left. Martin walked toward his old house. The familiar paths, broken steps, and creaking walls reminded him of his childhood. The door of the house was strangely shut. Just then, he saw his childhood friend Maya. She was now living alone. Her face looked tired and frightened. "Martin, after so many years? How are you? What brings you here?" "I'm fine, Maya," Martin replied. "I just came to complete some paperwork for our ancestral land." "But tell me, why is the village so silent?" Maya looked around nervously. "Every night, someone disappears from this village. No sound, no signs. In the morning, all that's left is a black mark on the ground, as if they were burned." "Maya, this is all made up," Martin said. "Villagers often create scary stories. If you take this lightly, you may regret it later," Maya warned. "Very strange things happen at night, voices, shadows, and sometimes voices calling out names." Martin tried to calm her, but fear had already settled in his heart. He knew the night had begun, and the village's silence was slowly closing in around him. The night grew deeper. Martin sat in an old room of the house, staring out through the fog-covered windows. Strange shadows moved back and forth outside every window. Sometimes there were whispers in the air, sometimes voices calling his name from behind the walls. He needed to sleep, as he had to complete the land and house documents the next day. The next morning, Martin slowly walked through the village lanes. Every house had its doors shut early. The square was completely empty. Then he saw the village's old priest, Acharya Satyadev, a serious and elderly man. "Martin, why have you come here?" "To complete my father's land documents." "But why is everything so strange?" "This village is cursed," the priest said gravely. "And that curse is connected to the land that once belonged to your family." "A curse? What kind of curse?" "Your grandfather destroyed a temple that stood on that land." A guardian spirit lived in that temple and protected the village. When the temple was destroyed, the spirit became trapped. Now, every night, it draws a human soul, trying to free itself from captivity. Martin listened carefully, but fear had already taken root inside him. The next night, the fog and the voices around him wouldn't stop. Whispers behind the walls, voices calling his name in the wind, and dark shadows passing by the windows slowly weakened him mentally. The next day, Martin decided to go to the place where the temple once stood. "Martin, don't go there," Maya pleaded. "It's dangerous. You may not come back alive." "I need to know the truth," Martin said. "Fear won't help me anymore." It was night. The entire village tried to stop him, but Martin gathered his courage and moved forward. He reached the place. Burnt soil lay everywhere, broken walls stood around, and an old, extinguished lamp lay in the center. Martin slowly lit the lamp. As soon as the flame rose, the ground began to shake. Hissing sounds echoed through the air. Martin's heart trembled with fear. Suddenly, Maya appeared, but her face had changed. Her eyes now reflected an evil power. "I won't let you go now," she said. "After consuming you, I will be freed from this curse." "No, please leave me," Martin cried. But smoke spread all around. Slowly, Martin disappeared. The village was left with nothing but silence and faint hissing sounds in the air. By morning, rumors spread through the village. Martin too had fallen into the demon's grasp. The villagers now lived under an even darker shadow of fear. The fog of Shantipur grew thicker. The roads, trees, fields, and the old house all seemed to feel Martin's absence. Maya, now fully empowered, wandered through the village. Every night, she searched for new prey, and no one knew whose shadow would be left on the walls the next night.